Ladies and gentlemen, babies and elephant, welcome to another new video. My name is Bosley, and today I want to bring for you guys Gladiator Bleed Split Arrow. Scourge League is here, the most anticipated league that I've been waiting for. A lot of changes has been made, and not to mention good changes as well. A lot of balances and stuff like that. I hope you guys are still enjoying the league so far. For me, the league start has been very smooth so far. As for bleeding builds or any dot builds out there, are always very reliable during the league start because it requires a very minimal investment for very smooth gameplay. So that's why I've chosen. I've actually been planning on what build to pick for this league start, and I've decided to go with Bleed Gladiator Split Arrow because I've never tried it before, and I always wanted to try it. So it has been amazing. It has been an amazing experience for me, so I hope that it will be an amazing experience for you as well. So let's cut the bullshit and jump straight into the build. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, of course, is the Ascendancy. So we're definitely going for the Gladiator. Yeah. So the first thing you want to pick up, because you want to try to get violence as soon as you can for the explosion. So what's so great about gladiators with bleed builds is because you get free explosion without even using the explosion chest, which means that you can use explosion at the very early start of the game, as soon as you got your second ascendancy point. So the first thing you want to pick off is Blood and DI. So this one will give you more chances to cause bleeding, and it gives you maim against bleeding enemies, and also gives you chance to blind the bleeding enemies. And the enemies that maim by you takes increased 10% physical damage. So after that, you want to go straight for I can't spell this out, or I can't read this out because my English is not very well. So yeah, this one, violence, right? After this one, what would you like to pick? So you want to go for Arena Challenger. Now, in this situation, right, it depends on how much currency you have. Because this is not the first day anymore, it's going to be like the second or third day for some of you guys. So it depends on how much currency if you have. So if you thought starting is totally fresh new, then yes, follow this way. But if you are starting up a new character, like you already have an existing one and you want to try something else, it depends on how much currency you have. So if you are the type of person who already have a currency and you're trying to make a new character to try something else, then what you can do, instead of going this straight away for the explosion, you can go for hemophilia. So this gloves, you can get it for like 2 or 3 chaos at most. So this one gives you explosion from the gloves itself. It also gives you increased damage over time, and increased chance to cause bleeding and attack damage against bleeding enemies. So this one can be used, and then you can skip this one and go for Arena Challenger first. So what I did was, I got this one first. Sorry, I got the skill point first, and then I got the gloves because on top of that, it still gives me more damage against bleeding enemies anyway. But then again, if you have this glove, then you can skip this one and go for this one first, then only go for then you go for Outmatch and Outlast. So this one gives you frenzy charges on kill, and also gives you physical damage at maximum frenzy charges, and you take reduced physical damage. So you go for this one, and then lastly you go for the violence for the explosion. So it really depends on what you have. So I'm assuming you are starting off a fresh new character. So yeah, don't worry about the gloves. Just go for a violence, and then after that go for Arena Challenger, and lastly you want to go for Outmatch. So Outmatch will always be the last one unless you have the gloves. Okay, so that is the Ascendancy. Now we're going to talk about the gear, right? So due to the fact that we have a very limited source of income and currency that we have as a new player, I'm going to go through the whole guide as a new player, not talking about creating a second character or whatsoever, because I'm sure there are a lot of you guys out there have not started the league yet. So this is what you can actually look at. So the reason why I have a couple of uniques here, because I managed to find some currency and try to upgrade my gear along the way to make my league start a lot more smoother. But let's assume that you're starting from the rock bottom, right? So for the rock bottom, you want to try to get a weapon that has like at least 3 or 4 links, okay? Any quiver will do, it doesn't matter, as long as it gives you some physical damage, it gives you some life, it's good enough. So this is potentially throughout the midway of your league start. this is what you can go for, right? So this is based on budget and also usefulness. So I went for Iron Commander. Potentially, during the late game, you want to go for the other bow, which is Silver Tongue, I think. Let me just double check for you. Sorry for the bad preparation. I'll try to share my whole screen so you can actually see. Let's see, video capture screen display. I'll share the whole thing. Okay, so you actually see the display, all right? So this is the I'm pretty sure it's Silver Tongue. So that will be the end game bow that you want to use. Okay, so it is Silver Tongue. Yeah, so it's Silver Tongue. So what Silver Tongue is, it gives you a huge chunk of flat physical damage because we are playing split arrows, so we want flat fizz, so increase a huge amount of DPS. The crit chance against arrows with fog, it doesn't really matter because we are not going for crit chance because we are going for what is this? Resolute technique. So we are absolutely skipping all the crits. So you don't worry too much about the crit. Most importantly, the arrow pierces all the targets after it fogs. So Silver Tongue is the main reason why you want to use for the end game as the one of the uniques that you have. Of course, potentially, if you can, you will craft a rare bow that has damage or dot multipliers, bleeding and stuff like that. But then, as for uniques, this will be one of the best. And also, you can actually go for Lionized Glare as well. So if you go for Lionized Glare, you don't have to pick up the Resolute technique. And this one gives you Flat Fist and Feast and attack speed as well. So either one will be still good. So Silver Tongue offers a lot more Flat Fist, but Lionized Glare offers you a free skill point to skip on Resolute technique, and also you get attack speed and some physical damage as well, and fast shot. So these two are the ones that you want to actually look at, okay? Now, the next thing, if you have a lower budget or you're starting out a new character, you can just use any bow. And then as soon as you can afford a bow, a unique bow, you can get this one. Iron Commander is actually pretty decent because it gives you some flat face, it gives you attack speed, it gives you totem life because we're playing with totems as well. And also, we are playing Siege Ballista has increase 1 Siege Ballista, but we're not actually using Siege Ballista. But most importantly, we get 1 to 3 physical damage to attacks per 25 dexterity as well. So it's pretty sweet. So because we have a good chunk of dexterity based on the skill tree and the skill nodes that we take, this dexterity won't be a problem for you. So you get a fair amount of dexterity as well. So which also in exchange, you get more physical damage to attacks. So it's pretty decent for a bow. For the helmet, you can just use any helmet, but if you can afford a unique or you can find a unique, get this one. Before you get Resolute Technique, you can go for this helmet. This helmet costs for about 1 chaos. But if you already have Resolute Technique, you can change this helmet because it won't be useful. For me, when I play a League Start, right? Usually what I usually do is I always go for gears that gives me move speed because I want to move and clear the axe as fast as I can. The sooner I clear all the axe, the faster I can gain currency and get gears, right? So, but of course, some people, they like to actually enjoy the axe and play through the axe. I played the axe so many times, I'm so sick of it already. Even though it's a fresh restart new character every league start, but still, you know, at some point you will get bored of it because it's the same thing over and over again for years, okay? So this one you can absolutely skip after you get Resolute Technique. But before you get Resolute Technique, this one will be a pretty good choice because it gives you a huge chunk of accuracy. And it also gives you move speed and leech and also lightning resistance as well. Okay, then after that we have the Carnage Heart because we get more attributes so that we can level up our skill gems. Some leech for the life and also some extra damage while you're leeching. The quiver, I'm using Drill Neck. So Drill Neck gives me Pierce. It also gives me increased attack speed and increased Flat Fist to bow attacks. And it deals 50% increased damage with hits and ailments to targets they pierce. So it's pretty sweet for quiver. But as again, if you're using a normal, cheap one, non-unique, you just go for any rare quiver bow that gives you possible Flat Fist damage and life as well. The rings, nothing too fancy here, just very simple rings with flat face or life or some resist, nothing much. Potentially you want to get more resist during the end game. The gloves, I'm just using hemophilia because this one gives me damage over time, a chance to cause bleeding and stuff like that. Just the worm smoke is a very good league start belt because it gives you leech for life and mana, because when you league start, mana will sometimes be an issue for you, so you need to leech as much as you can, and some intelligence because you kind of lack intelligence if you want to play certain gems like I play, but if you don't, then it's fine. And I'm using this Brynrod Whalers Trapper Boots because it gives me increased global physical damage. It gives me move speed and increased projectile damage and unaffected by shock round. It's just a few random uniques I picked up here and there. Maybe I bought one or two, but you know, nothing too fancy. If you are a new player, absolutely a new player, don't worry too much about the gears until you clear all the X, okay? Most importantly, on the gears, if you can find certain stats that you want, try to go for anything that gives you flat physical damage or life, and some resist if you want. Because you don't, usually when I league start, I don't worry too much about resist until when I start running maps. So anything when I run during the egg clearing, I do not worry about all the resist. Unless my resist goes down to negative, otherwise I usually just don't care. Because it doesn't really matter to me at all. The flasks, you just get life flasks, some movement speed flasks, and some mana flasks. You know, nothing too much now. Just very simple stuff for league start. Okay, so I want to talk about the next part. I want to talk about is the skill gems, and then later on, I'm going to explain about the league start on what skills to use, and then after that, you transit to split arrows and so on and so forth. So this is when you actually start using split arrows. So I have two 5-links over here. I have Brutality linked with the Split Arrow, Vicious Projectiles, Chance to Bleed, and Chain Support. So when you chain, it chains around everything and everything gets bleeds and stuff like that. They will explode and stuff. So for map clearing, this is a pretty good setup. For the single target, you want to use Puncture with Deadly Ailments, Vicious Projectiles, Maim, and you can use Corrupting Fever. If you don't, it's fine. Just use a Falling, it's fine. Okay, now, if you are using, I'm assuming you're using either a 3-link or 4-link, right? So if you're using a 3-link, then you go for Split Arrow with Vicious Projectiles and Chance to Bleed. Now, as soon as you get 4 links, you can either go for Chain or Brutality. Depends on what you need. So if you're struggling with clear speed, then go for Chain. If you're struggling with damage, go for Brutality. That's my advice. And then if you can filing, then this will be the great choice, right? So Puncture, same thing. If you're going for 3 links, you go for Puncture, Vicious Projectiles, and you can go for Deadly Ailments, or you can go for Chance to Bleed as well, and then you can go for Maim. Okay, so that's the single target and the map clearing. What other skills I have? I have Lightning Golem just for attack speed. These are just the gems I'm leveling up. Flesh and Stones will be the aura you're running. Most of the time you'll be running on Blood Stance because nearby enemies will take more physical damage. You are using Dash for second wind and Enduring Cry. So Enduring Cry, I actually bind it with my left click when I move around. So it actually, when you move, it just automatically casts your Enduring Cry as soon as it's up. So it's very, very useful. And the good thing about using Enduring Cry, it gives you endurance charges, and also it regenerate 1,666 life over 1 second when you used it. So most of the time it will keep you alive, and it'll save your ass most of the time anyway. So Enduring Cry on your left click will be a very good choice, a very wise choice. And the other utility I'm using right now is Ensnaring Arrow with Ballista Totem and Efficacy. So the Ballista Totem will be using a Snaring Arrow. This I actually made a mistake over here. You're not supposed to link Efficacy over here. I don't know why I did that. Basically, you want to use Ballista Totem with Ensnaring Arrow. My bad. And you can actually use some other gem, depends on what color on your links. You can use GMP if you want, so they can use, it will shoot out more of the Snaring Arrow that will slow down most of the enemies nearby. And it applies slow movement speed for the enemy, and after that enemies will take more projectile damage from you. So it's good for single target. Usually you will use it for single target and boss killing, but not usually for map clearing. Map clearing, usually you just use the Split Arrow is good enough for you to clear the map. Okay, so these are the skill gems that I wanted to tell you. So now I'm going to talk about the leveling process, right? So when you start off a new character, the first thing you want to do is you want to try to pick up Shattering Steel. So Shattering Steel will be the skill that you'll be using with Chance to Bleed. So I will put all the information in the POB. So you can refer to the POB on the skill tree process on level 1 to level 30 and level 30 to level 60 and so on and so forth over there. All the information will be there, what gears to use and stuff. All the detailed stuff will be over in POB. So on the top of my head, as far as I know, you can use Shattering Steel to level as soon as until you're ready. And then after that, you go for the bow and you go for split arrows. Okay, so that is the leveling process. After that, you just get the gems as you go, right? So the next thing is the bandits. So the bandits, you just help. You can choose two choices. You can either go for Aramir. So Aramir gives you 2 skill points, which is the most ideal choice that you can make. The other one is actually helping Oak. So Oak actually gives you physical damage and life regeneration. So it's pretty sweet as well. But I will always prefer going for Aramir for the 2 additional skill points. Will be much more useful and valuable compared to taking the skill from Oak. For the Pantheons, it's nothing too much. Usually I will just always go for Lunaris. And I'm running, usually you can run, let's see, you can use Aberrath or you can use Ralakash. Ralakash will be a better choice over here in the Pantheons. And last but not least, the skill tree. So the skill tree, what I recommend is like this, right? So you'll be starting off as the duelist. So you go down over here and pick up some life notes. And then after that, you're going to pick up Art of the Gladiator and then pick up Bravery. So you get some life, right? So I'm assuming you are starting off without a bow first, and then you start with a bow. So without a bow, you skip this part over here, and then you go down, and then move all the way and get Golem's Blood. And then after that, you move up here and pick up Dirty Techniques. So this one gives you a lot more damage over time, while you're using Shattering Steel with the bleeding. And then move this way and pick up Bloodletting, and all the nodes around here. First, you want to pick up all the bleed chance over here first. As soon as you are ready to get, as soon as you have more than enough bleeding chance, then you regret both of these skills, and then allocate the skill points over here. And then after that, you want to move down here and pick up Bloodlust, and then you want to pick up Call to Arms as soon as you can, so you can use the Enduring Cry, so it will be instant. And then move up here, you want to pick up Juggernaut for more life, and then Savage Wounds for more bleeding, inflict faster. So the faster the bleeding will inflict, the faster damage dot they will take, right? And then after you take the life note over here as well, and then you pick up Resolute Technique if you are not having accuracy capped, because crit doesn't matter. We don't care about crit anyway. And then you pick up Vanquisher over here so that you can crush the enemies. So enemies will take lowers their physical damage reduction by 15%, and also there will be physical damage overtime multipliers over here. And then after that, when you're ready, you pick up the bows, and then you pick up the bow skills over here. So you pick up Deadly Draw for damaging elements, deal faster damage, damage over time. Heavy Draw for damage over time, physical damage with bows and damage over time. Avatar of the Hunt for move speed, damage over time. Farsight for damage over time and accuracy. And Thick Skin for life, and then Wind Dancer for more survivability. This is a very good layer of defensive layer for yourself as you go on leveling and clearing through the axe. And that is the strategy. Now, if you are playing a bow as soon as you can pick up all the notes here. It depends on which way you go, but I prefer you go this way first and come to the bow last. So they can use, because in my experience, when I level, right, I realized that using Shattering Steel is much more sustainable in terms of mana, and also it's much more reliable compared to using split arrows until you have at least 3 or 4 length. That's my recommendation. I think that's the best way to do it. So far, the experience for me has been very smooth. I played a few dot builds before, like I played Toxic Rain as a league start, the last league, and the last 2 leagues ago, and stuff like that. Or you can even, if let's say, there's another idea over here, right? So what you can do is, if you can pick up all the bow notes over here, you can. Instead of going for bleeding, you can go for Toxic Rain first. So Toxic Rain is also a dot build with bows as well. So you can use Toxic Rain to clear until you're ready to switch to split arrows, and then you pick up the bleeding nodes. So that is also another way you can play the game, by using Toxic Rain and then switch to split arrows rather than using Shattering Steel. It's entirely up to you how you want to play the game. So as I was saying, right, The whole leveling experience has been very smooth. I'm actually already at Act 9 now. I didn't really play much these past 2 days because I have work and stuff like that. And I really wanted to put out a video as soon as I can because I feel that a lot of you guys want to try something different, or a lot of you guys are new, they haven't played builds like this before, then you will try something like this. Because gladiators are it's always a good choice because it has the free explosion from the Ascendancy. And bleeding is always good for clearing maps and also single target. And also it requires very low minimal investment. And it's also a very reliable build to play with. And that's why I chose a bleeding split arrow gladiator for this league start. And I must say I am quite satisfied with the result so far. So if you guys have any suggestions or comments, please drop a comment down below. I usually do build guides almost every week. So if you guys like my video, please like and subscribe to my channel. That will be very helpful to support my channel. And I hope I see you guys on the next video. Peace out.